Chapter 5. It then came to pass that I, Amon, having transcribed these words from the sealed record of Moses, that the voice of Yahavah calling me said, like a child on the lap, the dispensation of Adam could not fully understand these words of mine, but as the child grows and develops more fully, it becomes able to have the understanding of knowledge that could not before be understood. Similarly, the purpose of my words in regard to my offspring involves a gradual understanding of times in which I, Elohim, will give the children of mankind, line by line, a little here and a little there. And blessed shall they be who listen to my precepts, because they will obtain more. And behold, I, Yahavah, will bring to pass a series of covenants proceeding from me to the children of mankind, which shall reveal many details with the unfolding of the dispensations. And it shall be fully understood in the period of time in which this message, which was sealed by my servant Moses, is revealed in the eyes of my people in the last days. Verily, the covenant I made with Adam and his righteous seed after him is sufficient assurance that I, Yahavah, will keep my promises. Nevertheless, on many occasions I, Elohim, will mercifully renew the truth of my covenants with the children of Adam, inasmuch as I will have a righteous one from among his descendants, who is willing to keep my commandments in order to redeem them. These inviolable covenants of the everlasting gospel of mine only begotten give unto you, O mortal and fallen humanity, an even more sure foundation to trust in my words. It was then that Cain, the firstborn of Adam, induced by the cunning of the devil, began to create dogmas concerning the appointed seed, so that their symbols would serve as signs for the future generations of the children of Adam, with the purpose of generating hope for a future restoration of what had been lost by his parents in Eden. Because of the divine decree imposed upon the descendants of Adam that the soil had been cursed and that mankind would have to work hard so that by the sweat of his face he would reap his reward, Cain proposed then that the fruits of the earth would be the symbol of the designated seed, and every time one was going through the painful process of ploughing, sowing, and cultivating the soil, he would be aware symbolically of the promised descendant and remember the cursed state of the children of mankind. But at the end of the work, with the gratification of the harvest, the children of Adam should, in accordance with the dogmas taught by Cain, burn to destruction some fruits in the field, to fulfill the word of Elohim as the purpose of always remembering his promised descendant. In this way, then, according to the precepts of Cain, similar to what happens with the crop, that after much labour brings its reward, in the end the children of Adam would have their reward through the appointed seed. Abel, on the other hand, as he had since childhood the craft of gathering together in flock a reasonable number of cows and sheep and birds, in order to facilitate their tasks of milking milk every day, and having eggs for food, and wool for making blankets and clothing, did not come to know the field, and with that put in controversy the sacred ordinances imposed by Cain to the future descendants of Adam. Moreover, as the prophecy mentions that the serpent's offspring shall wound the heel of the offspring of the promise, Abel understood that this should be a bloodshed on the part of the chosen seed. For in the original Edenic language, God's true pronouncement to the serpent would be to bleed the heel rather than to hurt. And for this reason, Cain went unnoticed when he formulated his dogmas upon prophecy. With this in mind, Abel proceeded to discern teachings based on the original context described by his father Adam in the Edenic language, which would be restored to the nation of Israel in the days when Moses wrote out this account. The same word which the ancients of his day understood to mean officiating in blood, according to their understanding of its origin, more Amon know to mean sacrament in the language of the Nephites. In other words, the sacrament follows the will of Yahavah from the beginning, that we may always remember the chosen offspring, Yeshua HaMashiach. For this reason, it came to pass that Abel, to fulfill the requirements of prophecy and therefore the requirements of the law, found it improper to sacrifice the fruits of the field as a burnt offering unto Elohim, according to the manner in which Cain had proposed. For in the days when Elohim commanded Adam to offer sacrifices upon the altar, the angels who visited him said that it should only be done as a symbol of the sacrifice to be made by the only begotten of the Father, and that only an offering in deference to his offering of his own blood could verily foreshadow his accomplishment, in order to always remember the future shedding of blood by the chosen offspring, who would be wounded for the benefit of all mankind. In turn, it was mankind himself, beginning with Cain, who came to frame dogmas in order to reconnect his symbologies with the remembrance of a divine promise. It happened then that Elohim was pleased with Abel's offering and rejected that of Cain, because he desired that this approval would lead Adam's descendants in observing that ordinance to offer that which foreshadowed the correct understanding of the chosen offspring, and thus they would not observe according to the deceit proposed by Cain. Because the children of humanity require symbols to remain faithful to the command of God, Yahavah then accepted the most coherent and faithful doctrine as to the content described in the words of his prophecy. Therefore it was said that by faith Abel offered Elohim a better sacrifice than Cain, and by his faith he obtained the approval of Elohim as a righteous man, and Elohim himself approved of his offering.